John the Baptist, and his question is, what if he starts with lessons Christians learn that, then he puts a colon and answers his questions. It depends with the years that examiners mark. For last year, students who gave answers like that, you start with Christians learn that, and you put a colon and answer. You answer your questions, you now give the answers one after the other. You'll be given be given a mark. But my main problem is what makes you tired? What makes you tired of saying Christians learn that, Christians learn that, Christians learn? So that sometimes as we are going with the marking scheme and as we are deliberating how we are going to mark, if a time comes and you say that you have not answered the right way, sometimes you want to be given a mark. So on the better side, it's better for you as a student just to repeat yourself. Don't take chances. There you'll be taking chances. So as we are deliberating on how to mark, we can either say that students who do this time round, we are not giving them. So what you're supposed to be doing as a student, make sure, I've insisted, when you have been told to give maybe the lessons that Christians learn from the teachings of John the Baptist, make sure that you repeat yourself. Don't take chances. Make sure you say Christians learn that and you answer. You have a load of how many hours? For paper 2, how many hours do you have? You have 2.5 hours. So for 2.5 hours, half hours, that is 30 minutes. We have already taken 15 minutes to choose on our questions. So we still have how many minutes, how many hours? 2 hours, 15 minutes to answer. So don't take chances. I still insist, because we have come to teach you how to answer, the do's and the don'ts. You as a student, if you are good in that particular subject, don't take chances. Make sure you repeat yourself. But sometimes you can be given, or sometimes you might not be given. So don't take chances. Repeat that word. Christians learn that. Yeah, that is the answer. Another question?
Just give another question. Okay, listen to me. Please stop murmuring. And stop murmuring. From behind you in the middle. And stop murmuring. So, is it okay? Let me have another question.
Hi, I'm Felix. I wanted to know, let's say for example, because we all know, obviously, some of us have, the handwritings differ, right, in terms of sizes. So what if you run out of space? Is it okay to paraphrase?
Okay,
the
so
questions?
I think your teachers have already given you the question papers and shown you like an example of a question paper that you're going to use. And for me as a teacher and an examiner, I think that the pages that you're given to answer are always very many. And I always don't want a student, as an examiner, don't paraphrase. Don't paraphrase. Just give me the way it is in the Bible. Don't paraphrase. You might have big handwriting, but for now, as a student who is going to sit for the kcse exam, you are only going to be given one particular paper. So you should organize yourself. If you have maybe large handwriting, others have smaller letters, make sure you organize yourself in such a way that question 1, at least I know one page. If you take one page, a particular page of a paper, let's say like this one, like that is a page. You can look at that paper, that is 2017. If you take that page, and you take one part of the page. One page can carry, for a student who has large handwriting or large letters, one page can take even question 2A and question 2B. And if you have smaller handwriting, that page can be able to, you can take 2A, 2B, and 2C. So there are very many pages that you're given, and I don't expect you to paraphrase. Make sure you give, because if you paraphrase, sometimes you might even change the meaning. So make sure you give me the events that the way they are in the Bible, especially Luke's gospel. Don't change anything, don't paraphrase. Give me the way they are in the Luke's gospel, especially the Bible, and what the teacher has taught you. Okay? Yeah.
Okay, let's have another question. Another question before I go to the rest of the schools.
My name is Victor. My name is Victor Mutisa, and I have a question. In the event you are told to give the difference of a certain question, and let's say for example you are given, you do write 8 points.
Okay, thank you for the question. So his question is, in the event you're given a question that you're supposed to describe, and you are supposed to be giving 8 marks. So I've already talked about closed-ended questions and open-ended questions. And I think whatever you're asking comes with the, let's say, the parables. Suppose you've been given a question to describe or narrate the parable of the lost or the prodigal son. So as you'll be giving the parable of the prodigal son, there are very many points there. If we are supposed to be giving 8 points, we will just mark 8 points. Even if there are 12, we'll just mark 8 points and give you the 8 points. What I would advise you as a student is that for you, you don't know where the 8, you know the point, isn't it? But for the marking, we are going to take care of the marking scheme in such a way that we need what is there in the parable of the prodigal son. So when you are giving the parable of the prodigal son, give me the parable the way it is, the way I'm still insisting. Give me the parable the way it is in the Luke's gospel. All the way you know it, where the boy asked for some possession from his father, and the father had to divide the possession for him, and the boy went to a far, far land. And as he was there, he squandered the money, and famine came in. And the boy now, that is when it dawned to him that he never had any money. He had to look for a job. And the only job the boy could get was to take care of pigs. And the boy ended up feeding on the pods that were for the pigs. And later on, you find that the boy now, after suffering so much, you find that he had to think back and ask himself that in my father's house, there's food, and so he had to go back to his father. And when his father heard that the boy was coming, he organized a feast where he was supposed to be cooked. The boy was supposed to be cut for a very fat calf. And later on, the elder brother, when he heard about that, he was so annoyed. So you give me the events well. And when we are marking, we are the ones to choose now those 8 points. But when you have been given a closed-ended question, we only mark 7. Even if you've given them following each other, you have given them following each other, one after the other until 12. I will put a line where the 7th point is, or the 8th point is. The others, even if they are correct, I won't mark. I will only mark the first 7. That is why I insisted that as you are answering your question, make sure you answer in paragraph form. So that as you write the first point, put a comma, second point, put a comma. So in as much as there will be 12, remember the question is closed, 7, isn't it? And you have given, this is a paragraph. These are not points. I've not counted them. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is a paragraph. So I'm marking the points, and I'll give you all the 7 points. So make sure you consider that. When you've been asked about 8 points and it is a parable, you cannot give, how will you give 8 points in a parable? You will give me the parable itself, the way it is. As we are marking as an examiner, that is when I will know where to mark and where not to mark. And I'll give you all the points, okay? Yeah.
Okay, now we are going to have questions from the other schools. And the first question is going to be coming from Upper Kitanga Secondary School. Kindly, Upper Kitanga Secondary School, you can unmute your microphone and ask your question. Upper Kitanga.
Wilfred Mwendo from Upper Kitanga Secondary School, and I have a question. Give reasons why miracles of Jesus are demonstration of God's faithfulness.
Kindly repeat your question.
Give reasons why miracles of Jesus are God's saving one, are demonstrated as God's saving one.
Pardon, repeat your question. So your question once again.
Give reasons why miracles of Jesus are demonstration of God's saving love.
No, that's okay. Can I answer? Or for that particular question, give reasons why miracles of Jesus are demonstrated in healing. So the question is not very clear, though what I can say about the question, give reasons why miracles of Jesus are demonstrated. So we know that the miracles, Jesus performed very many miracles. We had different types of miracles. We had exorcism, we had healing miracles, we had raising from the dead, and we have this kind of miracle. Like in the exorcism kind of miracle, you can give me one point. The power, whatever we deduce from the exorcism, where Jesus maybe drove out the damn demon. What do we learn there as Christians? The power of Jesus from that particular miracle to Christians. Remember, we have to know the miracle first, then later on, as Christians, what do we learn from that particular miracle? Like in the damn demon, the damn demon, or we find that Jesus has power over the demon or the evil spirit and the rest. In the healing miracle where Jesus healed the woman with the flow of blood, we know that Jesus has power, Jesus is the healer, or Jesus has power over disease or sickness and the rest. So whatever this particular question is so large, and I don't think this question, you can be given such a particular question, not unless you ask a question to give a particular miracle and its lessons or its significance to the Christians today. You can't be given all the miracles and their significances. That one is impossible.
Okay, let us have another question from Changuli Memorial. Kindly, Changuli, unmute your microphone and ask your question.
I'm Feduk from Changuli, and I have two questions. The first one, I need clarification on the section C part of the application. When you talked about, you described about the lessons learned from and the lessons about. How do you go about it? Maybe on the lessons about, do you emphasize on the character of the person who's been given, for example, like Jesus? And the second question is, on the essay question in paper 1, do you apply the aspect of using the paragraph as in paper 2? Thank you.
Okay. So she has asked me to emphasize on part C, where I talked about how to give the significance of the lessons learned, and there is the lessons learned about, and lessons learned from. So lessons learned about, about Jesus. Lessons learned about Jesus. It's true, we are emphasizing about the character, Jesus. So lessons learned from the particular incident, all of it. So let me give an example. For example, we have the calling of the first disciples. In the calling of the first disciples, when you've been given to, after you've described it, and you're asked to give the lessons learned from the calling of the first disciples. So these ones, whatever lessons that we learn here is that as Christians, we are supposed to be learning lessons from Jesus, all the lessons from Jesus, lessons from the crowd that was pushing Jesus as Jesus was preaching, lessons from Peter and James and the other fishermen who helped in dividing the fish and getting out the fish and the rest. So she's asking lessons about, you emphasize on the character, but lessons from, it's about Christians that we deduce from the story. I think that question has been covered very well. And in the answering part of each describe question, she has asked about the paragraph form, and there I really insisted and said it is good to organize your work. You can have the first paragraph carrying 2 points, the second paragraph can also have 2 points, the third paragraph can have 2 points, or you can also divide it into 2 paragraphs, but you give the whole story. We are the ones to get out the points from that paragraph. Don't give a whole paragraph. If you give a whole paragraph, it is a monotony. Getting the points, it is a whole load of things. So make sure you divide your work at least and leave a space. A paragraph, leave a space, a paragraph, leave a space, and describe all the story the way it is in the Bible. Luke's Gospel, Revised Standard Version. Yeah.
Okay, let us have another question from Mumbuni girls. Kindly, Mumbuni girls, unmute your microphone and ask a question. Mumbuni girls, kindly unmute your microphone and ask a question. Mumbuni girls, kindly unmute your microphone and ask your question. Mumbuni girls, kindly unmute your microphone and ask your question.
Okay, my question is about when you're narrating about. Okay, Mercy Mumbuni girls, I'm asking about when you're narrating about raising of Jairus' daughter. Will you include the part when he healed the woman with the flow of blood, or will you exclude the part? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. It's a very nice question, and it is good she has asked it. She's saying, when you asked a question concerning raising of Jairus' daughter, do we include the woman with the flow of blood, or we should leave it? As an examiner, that is part of the story, because there are 2 incidences here. You've been told to give the story during the raising of Jairus' daughter. For me, you are supposed to be giving everything, every incident that happened during that time. As Jesus was healing, as he was continuing his ministry in Jerusalem, so a word came to him that Jairus' daughter was ill. And later on, as you're giving, as this word came to Jesus that Jairus' daughter was, and Jairus wanted Jesus to go and heal the daughter. And we find Jairus so sad about it. And you find that as Jesus was headed there, you find that Jairus' daughter now was already dead. So as Jesus was going there, in this incident, the crowd was pushing. A woman touched the fringe. That is just one point. It's just a statement. There's a woman who touched Jesus' fringe or cloak, and Jesus felt some power leaving him. And that is when he asked, and the woman the woman came out, and Jesus told the woman to go and show herself. And you continue. When Jesus reached Jairus' daughter's house, Jairus' place, what happened next? So you have to continue, you have to give the incident. That is one of the points under the healing of Jairus, the raising of Jairus' daughter. So you have to include that particular point. It is just one point, just a line, a statement. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, there is another question from Machakos Baptist. They are asking, in explaining questions after then, point a put of okay, in explaining questions after then, point a put.
Okay, he's asking I understand what he's saying.
Okay, we are going to get another question from Machakos Baptist. Differences between Benedictus and Magnificent.
Okay, Machakos Baptist, can I answer it? Or they're asking about the differences between the Benedictus and the Magnificat. Here is concerning the content mastery. I'll just give a hint concerning how to answer this particular question. We know that the Benedictus was sung by who? By Zechariah, isn't it? Yes. And in Benedictus, we have Zechariah singing about the Benedictus, and in the Benedictus, most of the points that we have there, the Benedictus is talking about the son John, who is going to be a Nazarite, who is going to be a forerunner of Jesus Christ. But in the Magnificat, this song was sung by Mary, and Mary coming from a poor background, and her being a virgin, you find that she was so happy, and she was thanking God for lifting the lowly, uplifting and God is going to put down the poor. God has remembered her. So make sure you know about these particular songs, the Benedictus and the Magnificat, the points that are there. This is a very important question, and they cannot set for you the two of them. They only set one of them. Either the Benedictus, which we're talking about the John the Baptist, who also was talking about the Messiah, who was Jesus. Then Magnificat only talks about now Mary. There is the first part of the Magnificat where Mary is happy about how God has uplifted her, has uplifted the lowly. And the second part of which talks about the functions of Jesus Christ, who is going to bring salvation and liberty to the captives. So that is the second part. So make sure you know that the Magnificat is divided into two parts. There's the first part of the Magnificat and the second part of the Magnificat, which talks now about Jesus. The first part is about Mary. Mary is happy and rejoicing about what God has done to her.
Okay,